What's up, collectors? Welcome back to Films by Color, and welcome back to another edition of This Week in Physical Media, where we take a look at everything that's dropping this week. Tomorrow, Blues Day Tuesday on Blu-ray and 4K. We're going to be looking at everything that's coming out tomorrow, and it's going to be a fun show. I'm excited about this one because we don't have too much to get through tonight. It's kind of a slower week. We do have a good bit of cool things to talk about. But the rest of the show is going to be up to you guys, whatever you guys want to talk about in the chat. I will be going to the chat quite a bit tonight because it is a smaller week. But that is up. What am I saying? I'm all over the place. Point is, I'm going to let you guys direct the conversation tonight. You guys will be in charge of how the show goes and how long we go tonight. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. We're going to breeze through the upcoming releases for those of you who are tuning in for that. And then we'll have a fun night chiming in and talking with the rest of the crew. If you do want to join us on these streams, we go live every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on the East Coast, and we'd love to have you. We have a lot of fun on these. We're cultivating a little bit of a crowd on Monday nights, and it's been a lot of fun. So thank you guys who are here already. I'm gonna jump to the chat and see who we got. Alden Tuttle, first comment I saw in the stream. He said, "My sister had her baby. I'm so super excited, and she's definitely going to be raised on physical media." Well, good, sir. Glad to hear that. You're doing it right. And congratulations if you're a new uncle, or if you're not a new uncle. Maybe you're already an uncle. I don't know. But congratulations on the second niece or nephew that you have there. Second, first? I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm I'm starting off great tonight. Sean Fox is here. Says, "Hi, DJ. Sorry I'll be heading out soon, but we'll watch your episode when I get home. I'm just starting to delve deeper into boutique labels, Radiance, Arrow, and Indicator. Have I missed any?" Yes, sir. You have missed a bunch. There are tons of them, and we'll talk about more tonight. For instance, Kino Lorber. Thanks for the segue. We'll talk about Kino Lorber tonight. We are going to talk about Criterion and Radiance tonight. We're going to talk about Scream Factory tonight, Shout Factory. You said Arrow. There's BFI. There's Second Run. There's tons and tons of boutique labels. I feel like I learn about a new one every single week on this show. So yeah, welcome to the world of boutique labels, and RIP your wallet. Internet user is here. Welcome, welcome. Kevin House is in the house. Nostalgia Nerds, what's included inside that really cool Fargo box set? Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute here. But let's go ahead and just get through the greetings first. Sam Fett's here. JT says, "Hi, DJ. Follow you on Letterboxd and always watch your YouTube videos. This is my first time live." Well, hey, welcome. Always glad to see a first-time watcher and a long-time caller. So hey, good to hear from you. Evil Wax is here. Henry Bidenkamp is here. We got all the classic guys here. Jeffrey's here. Big Al says hello from England. Really enjoying the content. Keep it going. Hey, welcome. If you're new, I'm glad to have you. We did get a little bit of a shout out from Eureka, and there's another boutique label. Eureka Entertainment retweeted or reposted. I don't know. I've never had a Twitter, so I don't know how it works. But they shared one of my videos that I made about Eureka, and so if you're here, if any of you guys are new from that post, and that's how you found me, welcome to the stream, welcome to the channel. And we're glad you're here. Let's see what else we got here. Dan's here. Good to see you. And Bailey's here. All right. Enough with the introductions. Let's go ahead and jump into a couple of the new releases for this week. So, like I said, February 6th, Blues Day Tuesday is tomorrow. We like to do this the night before to give people a heads up of what is coming out this week. And the first thing, the biggest news that I think everybody's excited about, I talked about this when it was announced a few months ago from Criterion. This is and I was corrected on the pronunciation. I believe it's McCabe and Mrs. Miller. And that is it. That's all you get from Criterion. They don't do a lot of like shots of the packaging. This is just a standard case. So if you know anything about Criterion, you know what you're getting. But this is a 4K upgrade of this film. And this is a Robert Altman film. And I've liked all three of the films I've seen by him. I think I've seen three. And I'm very excited to check this one out. I did put it on hold, though, until the 4K comes out. So I'll probably pick this one up maybe in the July sale, maybe even in the February flash sale if they do one of those on the website this year, because I'm very interested in this one, and the trailer really sold me, and the visuals look very, very interesting. And it's a Western. It's like a modern Western. This was shot in 1971, so full color Western, but it just looks gorgeous. Look at these shots here. I don't usually do this, but since we don't have too much stuff going on, I'll go into a little bit more detail here. But yeah, I'm very excited about this one. Criterion Collectors, looking forward to that one for a while. Some big ones coming out. Last week we talked about Train Spotting, and now we've got McCabe and Mrs. Miller. So big month for Criterion. I'm glad they're still dropping great stuff. And then from, like I mentioned earlier, Shout Factory, we've got Funeral Home from 1980. This is obviously a horror film. There's the cover of the artwork underneath. Some things never rest in peace. So we got a zombie thing here. Let me read the description here. A young woman arrives at her grandmother's house. Oh no, we're losing our voice already. We just started, which used to be a funeral home, to help her turn the place into a bed and breakfast inn. After they open, however, guests begin disappearing or turning up dead. Wow. Sounds like a real Scooby-Doo mystery there. And there's a slipcover. There is a slipcover on this release with the same artwork, but still looks pretty good. That is one of the Shout Factory releases. And then the other Shout Factory release is The Terminal Man from 1974. Sci-fi thriller. An epileptic computer programmer undergoes a surgical procedure in which electrodes are planted in his brain and a miniature computer is inserted into his chest. Rather than curing him, though, the malfunctioning electrodes render him dangerous and violent. Interesting. So kind of another horror thriller type thing, but with a sci-fi bend, and some incredible looking artwork here. I think this is technically a Scream Factory release, but yeah, The Terminal Man. I've never heard of that one. That is pretty cool looking. No slipcover on that one. As far as I can see, there might be, but Blu-ray.com is not showing that to me. So 2 releases from Shout Factory this week, which we don't talk about them too often. We mostly talk about Criterion and Kino Lorber and some of the other big ones. So that's nice to get 2 releases from Shout Factory this week. I'm sure the fans of that label will be very excited about those. What are people saying here in the chat? Big Al, 1982. Been watching for a while, just a lazy commenter. Apologies. No need to apologize, man. You don't have to comment. Just watching is plenty, man. I appreciate the watching too. Nostalgia Nerds, Waitress is an amazing musical. I would definitely recommend you picking it up. It is one of the best musicals ever made. Amazing music and a beautiful story. Interesting. Thanks for the recommend. Haven't seen that one yet. Michael Smith, one thing I've noticed about Altman is he loves to shoot scenes through a window, and I can't find any commentary about why he does that. Interesting. I wonder, does he do commentaries on his films? I haven't listened to any of them, but yeah, that is interesting. You can probably find a YouTube essay on why he does that. Luke SE, I remember seeing Tarantino saying McCabe is a terrible film, that it was lazy, and he said that the actors seemed to disrespect Altman on set, especially Beatty. I don't know Beatty, excuse me. I don't know if it's true, but he said it. Interesting. It's funny you say that because I was just listening to a YouTube video today about Tarantino talking about Eric Romer, which was pretty funny. He said he used to work at a video store, and whenever people would ask him about Romer, he would give them kind of a warning going in to make sure they were prepared for it. Internet user, my favorite Altman films are California Split and The Long Goodbye. Gus just popped in the chat, and he's very excited as always. Good to have you, Gus. Welcome. And JT, our new viewer, says, McCabe is one of my favorite Altman films and favorites from the 70s, so I'm looking forward to seeing the 4K presentation. I will try to be patient and wait for the July Barnes & Noble sale or Criterion Flash sale. I'm going to do the same. I'm not going to pick it up day one, but the Flash sale's right around the corner. It's this month, usually. I think it's usually in February, so I think we should be fine on that front. Let's jump back and see what else is coming out. I don't know what in the world this is. We'll click on it here because it looks interesting. I've never heard of this label. It's called Massacre Video. I don't know if it's like a super underground label or if it's just a horror thing that I haven't heard of, but this is called Blood Rain with a Y, because you gotta spell things with the Y to make them cooler. And it's a limited edition 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray combo pack. It's a horror action fantasy adventure. It looks kind of like what's that big horror action franchise? Is it Resident Evil? I'm getting kind of Resident Evil vibes, but it also kind of looks like an adult film version of Resident Evil. I don't know what this is. But yeah, that is something. I would be shocked. I would be very interested to know if anyone in the audience knows what this is. But yeah, it looks kind of like holy crap, is that Ben Kingsley? Ben Kingsley is in it. And he looks to be playing some kind of monk or knight or something. And Michelle Rodriguez. Wow. I don't know who the main girl is, but I know who Michelle Rodriguez and Ben Kingsley are. and that's better cast than I was expecting. I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe that's a more popular thing than I'm giving it credit for. But I do know these next couple things that are coming out here because this is Kino Lorber. We're going to talk about Kino Lorber a lot tonight. So if you're a Kino Lorber fan, don't worry because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 things coming out from Kino Lorber. Big leap, big week for Kino Lorber. Gus says it's a cheap direct-to-video movie. LOL. That's what I thought. What happened, Ben Kingsley? I guess I haven't seen you in a while. Last time I saw you was what? Shang-Chi? You're in Shang-Chi for a little bit. All right, so let's get into the Kino Lorber stuff. So this one's called Witness for the Prosecution. It's coming out on Blu-ray. This is a 1957 film with wonderful artwork here. We've got a slipcover on this one as well. I don't think it's a 4K though. They usually put the banner at the top if it is a 4K release. And of course it does say Blu-ray at the top. So it is just a Blu-ray release. This is starring, this is a Billy Wilder film. Interesting. I wonder why they didn't give this one the 4K treatment. This must not be as big of a fan favorite. I have picked up 2 of the Billy Wilder films from Kino Lorber, the 4K versions, which are Stalag 17 and The Apartment, and they look incredible. I just watched those in December for Christmas. And this is another Billy Wilder film, and I guess I gotta get it. I've kind of started collecting the Billy Wilder Kino Lorber releases, although I didn't get Some Like It Hot because I had just bought the Criterion edition and then they released the 4K from Kino Lorber. So I don't have that one, but I do have some other ones. I might have to check this one out. Sir Wilfred Roberts is an ailing barista who has been told that he should accept fewer legal cases for the sake of his health. However, he cannot resist defending Leonard. Now I'm just imagining him as being a barista, and that really changes the entire movie. But this is kind of like a courtroom drama, a Billy Wilder courtroom drama. What could be better than that? I'm sure it's going to have some great dialogue in it, and it's on sale right now for only $17.50 from Amazon. That looks like a pretty good deal. Looks like you got some romance in there as well. You can see on the slipcover. That looks pretty good. Sounds pretty good. I hadn't heard of that one, but that seems like a good one. The next one from Criterion, Kino Lorber, is The Big Country. Is getting a Blu-ray release, also with a slip, starring, look at this, Gregory Peck, Gene Simmons, Carol Baker, Charlton Heston, and Burl Ives. So an amazing cast in this one. This looks like a Western as well. I love the little sunset horizon there at the bottom. And there it is. We've got a New Englander arrives in the Old West where he becomes embroiled in a feud between 2 families over a valuable patch of land, filmed in Technorama. I've not heard of Technorama. I've heard of Cinerama, but this seems like it's pretty cool. Looks like another good-looking Western. Sensing a theme here. This is another 50s film. Kino Lorber, I've noticed the last couple months since we've been doing the show that Kino Lorber likes to release things kind of like in batches. So a couple weeks ago, they released like a couple spy thriller films and action films. And it looks like we're doing some 50s films this week. We'll see if that continues as we go on because there are several Kino Lorbers coming up. Let me jump back and see what people are saying in the chat just to keep you guys involved here before I get too far away in case you have something to say about these releases. Sam Fett says it's a terrible movie based off a video game. God awful. Okay, talking about Blood Rain. Okay, that makes more sense. I feel less crazy now because that's kind of what it looked like to me. But I don't know why it's so popular. Blu-ray.com sorts these by popularity, and that one's like number 4 this week. I guess that really speaks to how small of a week it is that we have Blood Rain that high. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, I'm gonna probably butcher your name. Brigisha? Hi, your content made me want to start my own collection. Hey, that's amazing. That's why I do this. Honestly, that's why I started this channel, is because when I was first starting collecting, I just wanted a channel that would just show me stuff and give me ideas. And like, there was so many things where it would just be on eBay and it would just be a flat image. And I had no idea what it looked like, what the packaging was, what was inside. And I just had to like guess and buy stuff sometimes. So I wanted a channel that would just show off some stuff. Even if it's like short little videos, sometimes I do little quick unboxing videos just to show you what the packaging looks like or what it looks. Some people get mad at me when I just talk about packaging, but it's not meant to be a thorough review. It's just meant to be a little unboxing video to give you a sense of what the packaging looks like, and you can decide whether you think it's worth it to pick it up for yourself. So that's kind of why I started this. I always wanted a channel like this when I was growing up, and there was a couple when I was growing up, when I was starting collecting in like high school, and there was a couple other channels back then that did that kind of stuff, and I always was grateful when they would show off, you know, interesting releases that I couldn't get my hands on or couldn't see. So that's why I do it, and I can't believe I actually got someone into collecting. So thanks so much. That really means a lot. Kevin House says, Witness for the Prosecution is a great film. Charles Laughton is wonderful in it. Okay, that's good to hear. Always nice to get a ringing endorsement from Kevin House because he has seen everything. Gus Amaretti, all those Kino's movies are re-releases with 50 gigabyte discs and slipcovers. Same transfers, just better compression. Oh, wow. Interesting. Interesting. So none of these are new. They're all just re-releases, like you say, with slipcovers and better transfers. Well, I guess that's good if you missed out on them like I did in the first place. I didn't know that Billy Wilder one was already released. I'd never seen that on the site before. And then Michael Smith also chimes in about Witness for the Prosecution. Good film, great performance by Dietrich. Interesting. I didn't even read. I'm an idiot. I didn't even read the names, but I noticed that earlier when I was preparing for the show. Look at this cast. You've got Tyrone Power, Marlene Dietrich, and Charles Laughton. That's an incredible cast. I just got a Marlene Dietrich box set from Grace for Christmas this year with 5 of her films. So this is definitely going to be a must purchase for me. It's got a slipcover. It's directed by Billy Wilder. It's starring Charles Laughton, Tyrone Power, and Marlene Dietrich. That's definitely a must own. That's one that I will be adding to my Kino Lorber wish list and picking up the next time they have a sale. I haven't done a Kino Lorber sale in quite a while. I'm long overdue for some Kino Lorber pickups, so I'm going to have to do that. Internet user also chimes in about Witness for the Protection. Crown Affair should have been 4Ks in my opinion. So he thinks Witness and Crown Affair should have been 4Ks. Yeah, it's interesting they didn't do that. I guess they just have to juggle which ones they think are going to sell the most, and they put like his big heavy hitters, like something like It Hot in Apartment, because those are definitely going to sell. So they're a safe bet for 4K, I guess. Sorry about my voice tonight, guys. I don't know what's going on. I'm losing it already. Let's see. Jeffrey Bertrone. It's a great Wilder too. Dietrich is top notch. Riveting stuff. So everyone is really in love with Witness for the Protection. So for the Prosecution. Let's see. What else is people talking about here? Ben Loves Movies pops in. Sorry I'm late. Had to film an audition tape for a musical. Very excited for the new Criterion 4K. Sweet, man. What musical, if you don't mind me asking, are you auditioning for? That's really cool. And is it high school or college or like just out of school musical? Like I don't know anyone's age. It doesn't tell me what people's ages are, so I have no idea. Let's see. Gus is here again, talking to Henry. Oh, Henry's here. Connor's here. Good evening, peeps. Connor's doing his taxes. Well, hopefully I won't be too distracting for you this evening. Let's see. Kevin House DJ. Just for future reference, it's pronounced Marlene Dietrich. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Thank you for that. I always actually appreciate. I'm not one of those people that gets offended when you correct me. I actually appreciate it because I gotta say these names a lot, so I want to make sure I'm saying it. So it's Marlene Dietrich. Marlene Dietrich. I'm gonna try to burn that in there. Connor Nielsen. Kino Lorber's release of Witness for the Prosecution and The Big Country are for sure pickups for me this week. Good to hear. Good to hear. Connor says he's got to stock up on Weiler. All right, let's jump back. Glad you guys are here. We got a lot more. Well, not a lot more, but we got a good bit more to talk about. So we'll jump back and forth. We'll take it slow. Read some descriptions here. Here's our first and only Radiance film of the week. Radiance is a newer label, and they have been killing it lately from what I hear. I haven't picked up any yet personally for myself, but I've heard from some really happy customers here on YouTube and in some of the groups I'm in, and they take it slow. They only release every once in a while. They're not like dropping as many as Kino Lorber is, but I've heard the releases look great. So this is The Sting of Death on Blu-ray, limited to 3,000 copies. And I haven't noticed. I don't know if they only do limited runs for all of their stuff, or is this just for this one? But this is from Radiance Films. This is a 1990 film, and it is a Japanese film. And here's the cover art on that. It looks great. This was kind of the centerpiece of the thumbnail this evening because it looked different than everything else. Everything else was just blue and white, and then this one really popped. So there you go. You see it's won a lot of awards at festivals. A pretty famous modern Japanese film from the 90s. I want to get a quick description on this. Period drama set in the 1950s about a couple isolating themselves from the outside world as they attempt to salvage their faltering marriage, no matter what the costs after the husband has an affair. Fascinating, fascinating. That kind of movie always intrigues me. I was a really big fan of Drive My Car, which is already 2 years ago now. Well, technically 3. I can't even keep track anymore because the years are flying by so fast. But yeah, that was one of my favorite movies of that year, and that's all about similar themes. This is obviously set in older. It's made in 1990, but it looks like it's set a little older. I can't tell from just the little tiny screenshots. But let me know if you guys have seen Sting of Death, because that sounds interesting to me. And then we've got don't get mad at me, YouTube, for this one, Voodoo Passion from Full Moon Features, which seems like another very tiny label that I've not heard of. This is an erotic crime drama. Seems kind of in the vein of a Vinegar Syndrome release or something from that kind of a label. And I don't know what Full Moon Features is. That could be a double entendre, probably is. But yeah, there you go. We've got Voodoo Passion for all of you who've been waiting for that release. There it is. And let's do one more Kino Lorber before we jump back to the chat here. This is, I think, clearly a re-release. Even if you hadn't told me that in the chat, I feel like I knew this one was a re-release because it's got the old logo on it. That's what the Kino Lorber logo used to look like. Kino Classics, well, the Kino Classics, but I don't know if they use that anymore because I bought some recent classics from them and I don't think they use that logo anymore. Maybe they do. But this is The Road to Shame, which looks kind of noirish. Interesting. I'm going to go ahead and pop this open. This is from 1959, another 50s film. And this is a nice, quick, breezy 88 minutes. It's actually a foreign drama, thriller, and crime. Okay, so yeah, a little bit noirish. Does it give us a description? When Beatrice decides to spend an evening with a group of wealthy playboys, her working-class fiancé, Pierre, follows her and exposes a gang of organized criminals involved in sex trafficking. Wow, that sounds fascinating for 1959. Interesting. Who's the director on this one? Directed by Edward Molinaro. Interesting. I've not heard of this one at all, but it sounds crazy for a 1950s film. That sounds really cool. So a little bit of a crime thriller there. Ben Loves Movies says it's a high school age production of Sweeney Todd. Speaking of the, not the film, speaking of the musical he's trying out for, that's really cool. I have never been in a high school musical. I wish I had done more of that stuff in high school. I went to a really tiny school, though. We really didn't. It was like we did a Christmas pageant. It was like all we did. Nostalgia Nerds, what do you think is the best Kino Lorber film to start with if you wanted to start a Kino Lorber collection? Whew! My goodness. Kino Lorber is a massive label, and they put out pretty much everything. Like anything, any niche from all the other labels, pretty much Kino Lorber covers all of it. I think my first Kino Lorber was maybe Metropolis. If you can find an edition of Metropolis, the whatever it's called, the Ultimate Cut or the Complete Edition, that's a good place to start. If you like silent films and if you want to go back all the way to the beginning, I think Metropolis is a really cool Kino Lorber edition. They also have all of Buster Keaton's films in Kino Lorber, which is another good place to start. But since we're talking about Billy Wilder tonight, I would recommend starting with some Billy Wilder films. Particularly The Apartment is probably my favorite that I've seen of his. So that's a good place to start. And if you're a big 4K guy, then they've been putting out a lot of 4Ks lately, and like I said, 3 of those are from Billy Wilder. If you're looking for more of a recent movie from Kino Lorber, I'm probably not the guy to talk to because I don't know if I have any recent movies from Kino Lorber. I think most of mine are from silent era or like 50s, 40s, 30s, that kind of era. So I don't know. Throw them in the comments, guys. Throw them in the chat. Let them recommendations fly. WI Watch Guys here. Welcome. Hello. Hope this finds you well. Hopped on just as you were talking about Altman. I could rattle off half his films, but have only ever seen one. Gosford Park. Fantastic film with great performances. Gosford Park has a release, not from Criterion, not from Arrow Video, but from Arrow Academy, I believe. I think it's Arrow Academy because some people recommended that film to me when I watched Nashville a couple months ago. See, I remember your recommendations. I always take them under consideration, and I looked them up right away, and I looked that one up, and it was available on eBay from Arrow Academy, because I don't think Arrow Academy is a thing anymore, so I had to buy that secondhand, and it looked like a pretty cool release. I remember looking into it. I never picked it up, but once I run out of Altman films in the Criterion collection, I'm going to have to move on to some of those other ones. Code Anime Fan is here. Internet user says The Sting of Death is quite good. Thank you for that. Evil Wax, I need to find time to watch Drive My Car, as I've heard nothing but good things about it. It is great, but yeah, it is like, I don't know if it's quite 3 hours. Maybe it is. It's pretty long, but it's worth it. It's great. It's very slow burn. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the director, but yeah, don't go in expecting like thriller or anything. It's very slow burn, like focuses on mainly just 2 characters, but I found them both fascinating, and it was riveting for me. But I don't know if it's everybody's cup of tea, but I highly recommend it, and I think most people do enjoy it. Gus says, DJ, are you getting Voodoo Passion? LOL. No. I think it was only like $14, but I don't even think I'll get it at that price, unless it's good. I have no idea. Luke. Also, DJ, you mentioned Flash Gordon in your Conan video. It's quite popular here in the UK. It has a pretty famous soundtrack by Queen. Oh yes, I know the soundtrack. It's great. I haven't seen the film yet, though. You know me. I want to. If I'm gonna invest in a movie for the collection, I like to try to get the best version I can of it. And that 4K limited edition slipcase of Flash Gordon is insanely hard to get your hands on. It's like $80 on eBay. I'm not gonna pay that much for it. I might just have to finally settle for like the smaller, normal slipcover edition. But I would like to have it, just because, as you can see in that Conan video, my Arrow collection is growing, and I've got quite a bit of those LE slipcases. And I'd like it to sit up there next to Barbarella and Robin Hood and Waterworld. I think it would look good up there. I just got to find someone who's willing to part with it for less than $80, $75, because I can't pay that much for it, especially because I haven't seen it. So I don't want to invest in it without having seen it. Michael Smith, Radiance is almost universally thought to be the best new label. Just past year mark, great releases. First runs are limited, then they get standard releases. Okay, that's what they do with that. So it's kind of similar to, there's some other labels that do that. Arrow is one of them. Arrow does the limited edition slip cases and then slip covers and then the regular releases later. So that's cool. I'm still holding out on my first Radiance release. Maybe if they do a sale, I will pick up a few. I really wanted that Italian comedies trilogy that they put out, but it was pretty expensive. It wasn't too bad, but then with shipping to the United States, it was pretty expensive. So I was like, I'll hold off on that one. But I already had one of the films in it because it's in the Criterion collection, Il Sorpasso. Great film, great road comedy, just great film all around. One of my favorite films, and I haven't seen too many Italian films, but I really liked it. And I would like to get the trilogy, but I can't. I couldn't. Sorry, I just heard one of my kids is awake upstairs. That's why I was losing my train of thought there. My daughter's had the flu all day today, which is really unfortunate. I hope she gets better soon. Nostalgia Nerds, thanks for the recommendation. Ben loves movies. Kevin House, back in 1980, I played the Skidmore in my high school's production of Oklahoma. I had a solo on The Farmer and the Cowman. Should be friends. Oklahoma's a great musical. I've only ever seen the film version, but I love it. Grace showed that to me. I hadn't seen that until I was an adult. And when we were dating, we would go back and forth and show each other movies that we grew up with as kids. And she showed me that one, and I really like it. I probably play Oh What a Beautiful Morning too often in the morning when people are still sleepy and cranky and annoyed with me, but I like it. I like to sing it. Ethan Edwards, Murnau is the greatest director, not in the Criterion collection, so start Kino with The Last Laugh or Nosferatu. That's a good place to start too. I've only seen Nosferatu. Last Laugh was playing in my theater a couple months ago, towards the end of last year, and I couldn't go, and I was really bummed about that, but eventually I'll pick that one up. There's also a Last Laugh release from Flicker Alley that looks pretty good that I might check out as well. Henry Bidenkamp, speaking of Kino's Metropolis, I would also suggest the Silent Fritz Lang Blu-ray box set. Yes, I have that box set as well, and it's got a ton of stuff in there that I can't wait to check out. So that's another good recommendation. That one's out of print, though. I feel like that one's pretty expensive. I was lucky to get it through a collection that I bought, but yeah, that's another good one too. I don't know if you want to start with that. Maybe start with just like a $20 release first, but it's great. Connor Nielsen says, bananas that Criterion has not given Murnau his due. Yeah, man, it is crazy. Wow. I am going to try to keep up with the chat tonight. There's a lot of people here, and it's scrolling very fast, but I'm going to try to keep up. If you have to, write your question again later, feel free. And you can always put in a super chat, and that highlights it and puts it in a big bold thing and keeps it on the screen so I can't lose track of it. So if you feel inclined to do that, I always appreciate those, and they always go 100% back into the channel with buying more movies for me to talk about on the channel with you guys. Let's see. Connor says, I have the Aero Academy of Gosford Park. I have a... Oh, you do? Wow, I didn't know that. I have a hunch my Altman binge is on the horizon, maybe a year away. I feel like it'll be awesome. Sweet. Yeah, because I remember you're the one who told me to watch Nashville because you were a huge fan of it. And I didn't know you had any Aero Academy stuff. That's really cool. Henry, thank you for asking this question. He says, how was Satan Tango? I am actually going to film a whole video about this. So this was a big event last Saturday. I went to see the 7.5-hour film by Bela Tarr. It was playing in my theater, and me and a couple friends went to see it, and we were in the theater all day long for 8 hours, and it was a really amazing experience. I want to talk about it in a full video by itself because I don't really want to bog down the middle of this video too much, but I kind of made it a whole week. I was watching Hungarian films all week leading up to it. I watched through the trilogy that I have from Second Run, which is the Hungarian Masters trilogy. So I'm going to talk about all 3 of those films, and it kind of worked out great because they all kind of prepared me in different ways for what I was going to get from Bela Tarr. It kind of worked out better than I thought. I just wanted to get some Hungarian films under my belt before I jumped off the deep end into that crazy 7-hour epic, but it actually worked out better than I thought because they were pretty similar in a lot of ways, a lot of filmmaking ways, and even story ways. So it kind of worked out. I'm going to talk about that soon. I actually picked up Satan Tango right there. It is in that stack of new releases back there. I got it from Arbalos, which is another label that we haven't even talked about on here. So I'll talk about that release. I'll talk about the movie, and I'll talk about my entire week of surrounding myself with Hungarian cinema in an upcoming video very soon. I haven't shot it yet. I've already shot 2 other videos that actually one of them's already edited and uploaded, but I'm going to switch it on maybe tomorrow. I didn't want to upload it the same day as I was doing this. So very busy, lots of stuff coming out. Subscribe if you want to keep up with everything I'm doing on here. All right, Watch Guy, did you like Conan? Oh, yes. So thanks for bringing that up as well. We watched that last night. I had John and Evan, both guys who have been on the channel before. They came over last night. We had a little bit of a watch party. We watched Conan the Barbarian together. We didn't have time to watch the sequel, but we did watch Conan, and it was a lot of fun. We had a really great night. Just a couple of guys drinking some whiskey and watching Arnold Schwarzenegger not speak. I was surprised how well they utilized him in that movie because I know that's like his first big break, and he doesn't really speak like at all. There's an iconic scene where he says "Crumb," laughs at your 4 wins and all that stuff, but most of the time they're just using him as kind of a silent, stoic type, which I think works, and I enjoyed it. We had a really good time. I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much just by myself. I think it's absolutely like a perfect watch party movie to just like talk about with your friends. I had never seen it. John had never seen it, but Evan had seen it a lot. It was like one of his favorite childhood movies, so he was like quoting along, and I don't know, it was really, really fun. I recommend it. I think it was definitely worth. I only paid $40 for that, so $20 a film, and yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I will not be getting rid of my copy. I will be holding on to it because it was a fun night, and I can't wait to get those guys back here and watch the sequel because that'll be fun. And I know the sequel is even more campy and crazy. Let's see. What is what are Luke here? We've got Luke here talking about Gosford Park. Wow. Okay. The chat is flying way too fast. So I'm gonna have to jump ahead, and then I'll jump back to some new releases. But real quick, Gus just threw in a super chat. Thank you, Gus. Look, Gus, thank you for illustrating what I was talking about. Here we go. So it puts it in this big green. There, look at that. He's got like a nice shiny like ribbon thing, golden ticket. Looks great. He says, DJ, do you see me? Do you? Yes, I do. See how convenient that is? It just takes over the whole screen. So thanks, Gus. Always appreciate that. And I'll put that $5 probably to, what am I into these days? Maybe to Flash Gordon, or maybe to some more Yellow Veil or Deaf Crocodile releases. That's kind of what I've been picking up lately. But yeah, I'll make sure that goes to a nice physical media release, and then I'll talk about it. So thanks for that. Really appreciate the donation. Always good to have you here, Gus. Let's jump back to the Kino Lorber releases that are coming out. This is another one that includes a slipcover, and this slipcover looks completely different than anything else. This is not a 50s film. This is a later 76 film, and there's the overview. Look at that. I actually really like that artwork. It's not got a lot going on, but I just like the painterly style of that house. It's called Burnt Offerings, and this kind of shocked me. It stars Betty Davis. I did not know Betty Davis was in like a 70s horror film. That's fascinating to me. I want to check that one out. It says, when a family rent a country mansion at a bargain price, they believe they're in for an uneventful summer. Little do they realize that they have just moved into a house of horrors. So it's a horror, it's a mystery film from 1976. Like I said, it's pretty long for I would think it would just be kind of a run-of-the-mill like horror mystery, but it's almost 2 hours. But there you go. Got an MGM film coming to Kino Lorber Classics, starring Betty Davis. It's a haunted house film. I don't know. I'm excited. Let me know if that's any good. A 70s horror can go either way for me. I love 50s, 60s horror. And I'm not a huge fan of 80s horror, but like 70s, you're kind of right there on the cusp, and it can go either way, like I said. So that is definitely interesting to me. This next Kino Lorber release is a 5-film collection that I know nothing about. OSS 117, and there's 5 films in here. There's OSS 117 is Unleashed, Panic in Bangkok, Mission for a Killer, Mission to Tokyo, and Double Agent. There's a slipcover on that. Really like the art style on that, and the bullet holes and the big bold font puts all 5 films titles right there on the front. That's pretty cool. So this is just, was it spy stuff? Wow, it's every genre. Look at all these genres. Foreign, drama, crime, thriller, adventure, action. He's got it all. He's OSS 117. Is this like a 007 like knockoff? What is this? $32 for only 5 films, though. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. There's no synopsis for OSS 117. It just says 5-film collection. So, but yeah, it looks to be some kind of like James Bond type thing. Interesting. I don't know if it's like a low budget James Bond or if it's... Wow, you guys are gonna have to let me know about that one. But that's coming out tomorrow. 5 films, and I don't know if that one's a re-release or not, but that is coming out tomorrow. Here is what was mentioned earlier. Someone mentioned Waitress, the musical. This is now it says 2023. Is this a 2023 version of the musical? Or is it just a 2023 musical? It maybe is just a new musical. So yeah, that is interesting. Broadway phenomenon. Experience the Broadway phenomenon. So this is interesting because we have been getting musicals this year, but every one of them was advertised not as a musical. Like they tried to hide the fact that it was a musical, like Mean Girls, and Willy Wonka wasn't really sold on being a musical. And then you've also got The Color Purple, that was more sold as like a prestige drama film than a musical. So for whatever reason, studios don't think they can sell musicals these days, so they're kind of hiding the fact. But this is just sold straight as a musical. Obviously a much lower budget thing. This isn't trying to go for Oscars or anything. But yeah, here we go. We've got Waitress the musical. Someone earlier in the chat highly recommended this, and I had not even heard of it. The hit Broadway musical about a small town pie maker with big dreams gets the silver screen treatment. Now, I don't know if earlier that commenter was talking about the Broadway musical being one of the best musicals in a long time, or if he was talking about this actual adaptation of it. I don't have much information on that, but that's interesting. I didn't know that was coming out. Yeah, but it is, and it's coming out tomorrow. Let's see. Dan says Conan the Destroyer is a completely different experience altogether. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard that one really steers into the camp, and it's more kid-friendly, and it's more fun and over the top. That's one of the things I was surprised by in Conan, because I was expecting it to be more campy, and it played it pretty serious. I mean, there's some crazy stuff with like the Wolf Witch, and and other stuff. But I mean, the cinematography is pretty nice, and it's played pretty straight. It's got some lovely locations, like there's a lot of snow locations, and I don't know. I was impressed. I liked it. It was a fun watch. But yeah, I'm excited to check out the sequel and just see how bonkers it is. Dan says Betty Davis was in a lot of horror movies in her older years. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know about that phase of her career. She's got to be pretty old at that point in the 70s. Obviously, I know her from her like noir, like early days. Connor Nielsen, I would be having a better experience if I rewatched the movie at home. I don't know what he's talking about. He must be talking to someone else in the chat. Let's see. Here we go. Henry Beidenkamp. Burnt Offerings is very good. Directed by Dan Curtis, who did the famous 60s soap opera, Dark Shadows. Oh, wow. Interesting. Featuring the first conflicted vampire, Barnabas Collins. Oh, sweet. So it's a vampire haunted house thing. Bailey Walsh says Betty did quite a number of horror-adjacent movies in her later career, along with family dramas and TV stuff. I read and watched Burnt Offerings a couple of years ago and actually preferred the movie. That's pretty interesting. That's fascinating. We've seen a few Betty Davis films. Like I said, earlier stuff. Grace and I have been watching some of her earlier stuff. So that's really cool that she had like a encore career of 70s kind of horror stuff. Dan pops in about OSS 17 is a French series of 2 movies that the director of The Artist made before that film. Oh my goodness. As in The Artist, the Best Picture winner? Is that what you're talking about? French series of 2 movies that the director. Interesting. Henry Beidenkamp, Betty Davis was also great in The Nanny. And Kevin House says, check out Betty Davis in the 1965 Hammer film, The Nanny. Same thing. These guys are you guys not best friends yet? I feel like if we make the Discord, you guys will become best friends because Kevin and Henry are always on the same wavelength. The Nanny, it's more of a psychological thriller than a horror film, but Betty's performance is really chilling. That's interesting. I'd like to see that kind of thing from her. Luke says, I think the Paddington director doing Wonka pretty much admitted it'll be a musical from day one. That's true. But I'm talking more about marketing for like normal people who don't even pay attention to like directors. JT, I like Burnt Offerings a lot. It has a great atmosphere, a very creepy and effective haunted house movie, and that chauffeur is terrifying. And one more thing here from Bailey about Waitress. It premiered on Broadway in 2016. I'm so excited to watch the pro shot. I was hoping it would get a physical release. Oh, sweet. Well, if I was the one to tell you about that, I'm very happy that I was. And if not, hopefully I told someone else about it. Evil Wax. On the other hand, I had an amazing theater experience when I saw Misery. The whole crowd was standing up and cheering for Paul to get revenge against Annie. That is the end of a conversation that I didn't get started with, but that'd be a good conversation to have talking about theater experiences because, I mean, I've now had a crazy theater experience with Satan Tango, but I've had a couple other interesting ones and bad ones, and I could talk about that at some point. Luke, for some reason I thought Betty Davis was Betty White until you mentioned noir. I would love to see Burnt Offerings with Betty White in it too, though. That would be great. All right, let me jump back to what is coming out this week. We're getting to the home stretch here. This is pretty much the last page we'll cover, or the last row we'll cover. This is the last Kino Lorber release. It's called The Thomas Crown Affair from 1968, and it stars Steve McQueen and Faye Dunaway with this lovely little slipcover they've got here. Nice artwork there. A Norman Jewison film. And there's the slip. Same artwork. I should have just opened that one up in the first place. So very cool. This is, like I said, from 1968. 4 men pull off a daring daytime robbery at a bank, dump the money in a trash can, and go their separate ways. Thomas Crown, a successful, wealthy businessman, pulls up in his rolls and collects it. Vicki Anderson, an independent insurance investigator, is called in to recover the huge haul. She examines the people who knew enough about the bank to have pulled the robbery and discovers Crown. But I know what's going to happen. After starting a tight watch on his every move, she begins seeing him socially. There we go. There it is. So a 1968 heist film / romance. Interesting. Another great Kino Lorber release. I'm glad they're re-releasing those. That's pretty cool. And then we're getting into some lower budget stuff here. This is Candyland from Quiver Films from 2022 is getting a release. Obviously a horror movie. Looks like it's in the same vein as Voodoo. What was it? Voodoo Passion. Then we've got some anime things that I am completely out of my depth on, probably related to TV shows that have 500 episodes. And then Peacock is getting a Blu-ray release from Indie Pix Films, which is a 2024 release. Very new film. Looks like a straight to home video release. And then there looks to be some kind of documentary, The Secret Cities of Mark Chrysler. Wow, we're digging deep. This week, like I said, this week is very slim. But if you're a big Kino Lorber fan, if you're a Radiance fan, and of course, if you're a Criterion fan, you've got some big heavy hitters coming out. So we're still getting into the year. We had this kind of a couple weeks ago too, where just a few things coming out, but there are some big ones if you're a super fan of Criterion or Kino. So yeah. Let me know which one of those you guys are most excited for in the chat. I think I'm most excited, obviously, for McCabe and Mrs. Miller and Witness for the Prosecution. I think those are the 2 big ones. Although I do want to hear about Sting of Death. Someone did say it was great. So that would probably be my 3rd most interested. But like I said, you guys got me excited for Burnt Offerings too. I'll probably be adding a lot of these to my Amazon wish list just to have them there so I can keep track of them for later down the road when I need some more releases to pick up. What are people saying in the chat? Let's hop back. We've made it through the new releases. Thank you guys for bearing with me as I got down to the end there and didn't really know what I was reading anymore. Let's see what people are saying. So we've been going for about 45 minutes, so that's a good cutoff point. And now we'll probably go for like another 45 minutes, maybe cap it off at an hour and a half, keep it a good length. But feel free to throw in as many questions as you guys want in the chat, and I will try my best to keep up. Let's see. Let me jump in here. Watch Guy, I've not seen the original Thomas Crown Affair, nor the remake with Pierce Brosnan. That sounds like a perfect match. But when the remake came out, I only heard good things. Okay. So another well-liked one there. Dan says The Crown Affair is one of those movies where people have probably not seen the original. Interesting. I didn't know there was a remake. Watch Guy says Dark Shadows always looked cool because it was so different, but also like it wouldn't be that good. Interesting. Henry Biden popping in. I feel Biden cap. I feel that the remake of the Thomas Crown Affair with Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo is slightly better than the original. Interesting. Gus, of course, says he's been waiting for Candyland all of his life. Well, you got to pick up Candyland and Voodoo Passion and let me know how they are. Do a video showing me what they look like. People talking about the Crown Affair remake as well in the chat. Speaking of Pierce Brosnan, I still need to see The Tailor of Panama. Evil Wax says, yeah, Bailey, it scared the hell out of me when I first saw it. She pulled off being creepy really well. I'm assuming they're talking about... Let me go back and see what Bailey was talking about. Here we go. I love Bette Davis and earned even more appreciation and respect for her from reading her memoirs and her personal assistant's memoir last year. She was also my #1 star last year on my Letterboxd stats. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I really enjoyed going through those Letterboxd stats. I'd love to see more of her stuff. And they were talking about The Watcher in the Woods is so wild. Watched the alternate ending for the first time last year, and I was flabbergasted at the genre switch up. That's one that I need to see. So I've been kind of chomping at the bit to pick up a Disney Movie Club, another Disney Movie Club haul. I haven't done one in forever. I've only done like 2. I'm subscribed to it, and I haven't been taking advantage of it. But whenever we can set some money aside and just drop like $100 on a DMC exclusive haul, I'm going to be picking up. There's a lot of stuff on there that I want to pick up, and The Watcher in the Woods is one of them. Although I've never seen it, so I probably want to watch it first, maybe rent it before I go ahead and buy it, because I don't know. I have no idea what it's like. I know a lot of people grew up with that one. It's like a childhood favorite for a lot of people, but I've never seen it. And Something Wicked This Way Comes is also one. But there's a lot of stuff on there. Like my wife wants to pick up the Parent Trap films. They have Disney Movie Club exclusives, and there's a few other ones that she grew up with that we want to pick up. I still haven't even picked up the Snow White 4K. I got to pick up that. And the second volume of the Mickey Mouse and Minnie shorts. I haven't picked up that yet either. So there's a lot of stuff from DMC that I have to pick up. And hopefully I can do that soon. Luke, DJ, are you thinking of checking out Argyle, the new Matthew Vaughn film? Critical response has been very hit or miss. Yeah, I don't see too many critics, but on Letterboxd it has a really low score. I know people aren't liking that one. I wasn't thinking about picking it up because I'm not really a Matthew Vaughn fan. He kind of falls under James Gunn for me, where I like him okay when he's like reeled in by the studio. Like Matthew Vaughn's first film I really liked, X-Men, or not first film, but his first like genre thing, X-Men First Class, I was a fan of. I really liked that one, but then when he got like carte blanche to do whatever he wanted with his films, like Kingsman, I wasn't a big fan of Kingsman. So his sensibilities don't really mesh with me. So I wasn't really excited about another spy film by him that's not Kingsman, but kind of seems like a little bit of Kingsman. So no, I wasn't really excited about that one. But if I hear that it's really good from like personal friends that think I'll enjoy it, maybe I'll check it out. But I wasn't gonna run out and see that one right away. SC. Oh, someone thought we needed a blood rain in 4K. Yikes. Yeah, so I guess I see you're catching up here. Yep, we talked about that. Very quickly. The Thomas Crown Affair is one of my favorite Norman. Am I saying that right? Jewison films. He passed away last month at the age of 97. R.I.P. Norman. Wow. Wow. Interesting. I wonder if that has anything to do with why they're releasing it. Code Anime Fan said these films all seem like obscure art house films to me. I don't know if any of these would qualify as art house films. Maybe The Sting of Death? I don't know, I haven't seen it. But no, I think they're just older films that you maybe haven't heard of, 50s, 60s, 70s. Luke says now Voyager is my favorite Bette Davis movie. Yes, we actually have that one in the collection. Grace picked that one up a couple sales ago, and I haven't got a chance to watch it yet, but I've heard that's like a really pivotal. What was I listening to? I was listening to some audio book that was like a film history class. It was like a little film history book, and he was talking about how influential now Voyager was, like a big thing. It was like that and Casablanca were like the big things that kicked off a certain movement. I had to skip ahead though because I haven't seen it, and he was like, I've seen Casablanca, but I hadn't seen Now Voyager, so I skipped ahead because I didn't want to be spoiled on that. But maybe I'll have to listen to that again after I see it. Evil Wax says I just watched McCabe and Mrs. Miller a month ago, so we'll definitely pick the 4K up at the next Criterion 50% off sale. That's good to hear. I'm still on the fence if I should pick it up in February or not. Dan says Watcher in the Woods, part of the dark years of Disney. Yeah, that came out. That was that 70s or 80s? Kind of when they were doing a lot of live action stuff, and that was when Black Cauldron came out, which was a dark. I wish we could get an uncut version of Black Cauldron. That would be amazing. Posty Posterson, who I have not read a comment from yet. I got the Thomas Crown Affair and Witness for the Prosecution from Kino Lorber already. Steve McQueen and Faye Dunaway in the Thomas Crown Affair is the sexiest couple of all time. Of all time, wow. That is high praise. Interesting. That's really cool. Gus says I love Watcher in the Woods. It's so good. Awesome. I'm glad I've got everyone's so we kind of talk about, mostly boutique stuff on here. But every time I bring up like Disney or something, there's a lot of people that pop up in the chat. So yeah, bring that stuff up more. We got to talk about some more variety on this channel because I'm glad I got some Disney fans and lots of fans, all kinds of stuff. Very well-rounded subscribers I have here on the channel. Evil Wax, it's really creepy and you won't ever want to go in the woods again. Interesting. So don't show it to the kids is what you're saying. Let's see. Wicked This Way Comes is good too, says Gus. Ethan Edwards, Donald Duck shorts are so much better than Mickey's. It depends on what era. I fight back a little bit there. Donald Duck gets pretty stale because he went on forever. Like he has 4 volumes in the Disney Treasures back there. He was all the way in like the late. Did he go through the 60s or did he stop at 50s? It was a long time. And those ones with Huey, Dewey, and Louie, where they're all just basically the same thing. They're just like Huey, Dewey, and Louie, like messing with them. They do get old after a while, especially if you binge them like all the way through. Like when I picked that up, we were watching a lot of them with the kids. I was starting to nod off a little bit, but he does have a little bit more personality than Mickey. That's why he took over so much, because people were liking what they could get away with Donald a little bit more than Mickey. But I like the early Mickey stuff where it's like they're adapting like fairy tales and fantasy stuff, like Brave Little Tailor and stuff like that. But yeah, Donald Duck's got some good shorts, and some that we watch every year. There's some like snow related ones that we've been watching around Christmas time, like Snowball Fight and hockey. There's a hockey one, and there's some with those ones get really annoying too with Chip and Dale. Those ones can get old pretty quick. But there's also a one that we watch around Halloween time that has like a giant gorilla who escapes from like a zoo or a circus or something and like terrorizes them in their house. So you get to see Donald Duck's house. So that's pretty cool. Evil Wax says the trailer for Argyle didn't make me want to see it. Yeah, what's with the cat? Why do they focus so much on the cat? Although part of me wants to see it just for Sam Rockwell because I love Sam Rockwell. I haven't seen him in a long time. But yeah, I don't know if it sounds like a movie that I would enjoy. Watch Guy, is that the same Matthew Vaughn that worked with Guy Ritchie back in the day? By the way, DJ, have you ever seen any Ritchie films? I have seen Guy Ritchie films. Dude, when I was in high school, the Sherlock Holmes films were the greatest films of all time. Like, I love those movies, like circa 16-year-old DJ. But I've seen a couple other Guy Ritchie films. I saw the one he did a couple years ago that was like about a little street gang with Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell was amazing in it and hilarious, but I didn't really like the film overall. I can't remember what it was called at this point. He's kind of like Matthew Vaughn, where he kind of makes the same kind of films every time, even though they're in different time periods. They're still kind of the same film. But yeah, I loved the Sherlock Holmes films when I was younger. I haven't watched them in a long time though, so I don't know how they would hold up for me. Connor Nielsen, DJ, I feel like Stardust is a movie you probably watched when you were younger. Maybe you haven't. I don't know. I remember liking the half I saw at a friend's house. I did see Stardust, not when I was too young, maybe like high school, college age. I like Stardust. It's got a very, very young Matthew Murdock in it. I can't remember what his name is, but yeah, Daredevil's in it, and Michelle Pfeiffer's in it, and Robert De Niro's in it. He plays like a cross-dressing captain of a flying ship. It's a bananas movie. It's awesome. I like Stardust. I don't own it. I should probably get a copy of that, but it's fun. And I didn't know Matthew Vaughn directed that. That's fascinating. Let's see. Oh, it just jumped. So I lost some questions there. Evil Wax. I finally watched Killers of the Flower Moon, and it absolutely gutted me. Much like Schindler's List, I think it'll be I'll only be able to watch it one time. Speaking of movies you can only watch one time, I also watched Killers of the Flower Moon, by the way. I watched it Friday night right before I went to the theater to see Satan Tango as kind of a warm-up. Before I saw a 7.5-hour movie, I watched a 3.5-hour movie with Grace, and we really enjoyed it. It was good. I don't feel like it needed to be... I think I talked about this last week. I don't feel like it needed to be quite that long, but I didn't not like it. It was great. It was really good. And I don't think I've ever been so relieved and overjoyed to see... what's his name? What is his name? He's like one of the best actors ever. He's killing it right now. He's been in like a Oscar-nominated movie every year. He was in The Power of the Dog. I knew his name right until I tried to think of it. But anyway, so happy when he showed up and started investigating things. It was amazing. He saved the movie. Not like the movie was bad, but he just like he just took it to the next level when he showed up. What is his name? He's in Fargo season 2. Dang it. I'm never going to remember it. You guys will let me know in the chat. You guys always come through for me. An internet user, have you checked out the Zone of Interest yet? No, that's the only Best Picture nom that I haven't seen yet. Zone of Interest. It's the only one that's still in theaters. So we gotta find a theater that's still playing it. Somehow find someone to watch the kids so we can go to it. But no, that's number one on our list. We want to check out Zone of Interest. The reason I brought this whole thing up was because I was talking about films that I absolutely adored, but will probably never, ever, ever watch again, because we watched Society of the Snow, which was incredible. So good. Thank you guys, all of you who recommended that to me, because it was amazing. But good God, I almost had a heart attack. I had like literal stomach pains watching it. It was the most anxiety-inducing film. I've never had that before. I've never had like actual heartburn from a movie before, but Society of the Snow was incredible and so good. I feel like not enough people are talking about it. It didn't get enough nominations. It was really, really good. And I think, oh man, I don't know. I think international feature will probably still go to Anatomy of a Fall, and I'd be fine with that, because that was like one of my favorite films of the year. But it has competition. It has more competition than I was expecting, because Side of the Snow was great. SC says, I really wanted to like Killers of the Flower Moon more, but it left me wondering what the first version of the movie was going to be. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that there was a big alteration to that movie. Jesse Plemons, thank you. Who was that? Jesse Plemons. Who said that? Evil Wax, thank you so much. Jesse Plemons, just the best, isn't he? He's so good. He's always good. I mean, I've been a fan of him since his Like Mike days, where he plays the bully in that film. But yeah, Jesse Plemons is great. Every time he shows up in a movie, he just makes you smile. What do we have here? Watch Guy, Curious DJ, do you have a favorite film? And if so, what is it? What an impossible question to answer. It depends on the day, depends on the time of year, depends on the mood I'm in. I don't even know. There's so many. I've been working on like a top 100 list on Letterboxd. It's not quite there yet. I think it's like got like 65, 70 films right now, but I will post that. The order is so arbitrary though. Like I said, it just depends on the day. I think I usually throw around It's a Wonderful Life as one of my favorite films, but that's kind of got a cheat code because I watch it every single year. So it's always great. But yeah, that's one of my favorites. I'll just say that. Luke, I resonated more with Looney Tunes and their shorts with Bugs and Daffy rather than Mickey and Donald. Yeah, I never grew up with Looney Tunes. I kind of wish I did. Too many of the Looney Tunes are just like one character like attacking another character, like beating up another character. And if I'm going to go for that, I prefer Tom and Jerry to that kind of thing. But I do like the Looney Tunes that aren't like that. Like, you know, there's a big iconic one. Especially, I'm more of a fan of earlier Looney Tunes before they got like just stuck with the same animal characters over and over. They had like, I feel like they had more variety earlier on before they just got, because nowadays you think of Looney Tunes, you just think of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and the big guys. But I like some of their earlier stuff, which I was watching through on HBO Max because they used to have all that stuff. And I think they lost some of it. I know they lost the Popeye shorts, which is a crime. Frickin' Zaslav taking out all the animation stuff. But the Popeye shorts were all on, well, at least the ones that aren't like offensive. Most of them were on HBO Max when it launched, and I was watching a bunch of those. But I think they lost those, which is really sad. Let me see. Was going to say that the one with Daredevil and Donald Duck and Daredevil and Chip and Dale. Donald Duck and Chip and Dale was really great. LOL. There are some really great ones with Chip and Dale, but there's a bunch. So if you just watch them all in a row, like it's kind of the same thing over and over. They're just kind of messing with them. It was like they just took Huey, Dewey, and Louie and then switched them to Chip and Dale, and everyone's just messing with Donald. But no, there's some great shorts. They just kind of did the same shtick a lot. So if you have the complete collection and trying to watch through all of it, it does get old after a while. Dan says Donald Duck and the Gorilla is one of the first Donald Duck solo shorts I ever saw. Wow, that's a good one. It's really good. Kevin House says, I love Hockey Champ with Donald Duck, which is one of the ones you mentioned. Trick or Treat with Donald and his nephews is a great one too. Yeah, Trick or Treat is one you got to watch every year. That's really good. Along with Lonesome Ghosts, which is Mickey, Donald, and Goofy short. Let's see. Let's try to catch up here. People telling me what Daredevil's name was. Charlie Cox. That's what it was. Charlie Cox. And Henry Cavill, also in Stardust, which is an interesting little pairing there. People talking about Sam Rockwell. I rewatched 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri last night. You can't go wrong with Rockwell and Frances McDormand. Dude, that movie is another one that like rocks you to your core, but is also kind of hilarious. He's got a very specific style, and I've loved every film I've seen from him. He did 7 Psychopaths and In Bruges and 3 Billboards, and then his most recent one, Banshees of Inisherin, we loved last year. It was my wife's favorite movie last year. It was like my 2 or 3. It was way up there. I love his stuff. I don't own 3 Billboards or 7 Psychopaths or In Bruges. I need to get In Bruges. There's a 4K Kino Lorber release of In Bruges that looks incredible. Has a really nice slipcover. I've seen it on eBay a couple times. It usually goes for like $30, $35. So it wasn't quite the right price for me, but I need to finally go ahead and pick that up because In Bruges is incredible. Another wonderful Colin Farrell performance. And I love his stuff. He's such a good director. Let's see. Where are we here? Jeffrey Patron was just about to mention how great Plemons was in Fargo season 2. Yeah, he's amazing. And they're actually married, right? Plemons and Kirsten Dunst are actually married because they're in Fargo season 2 together, and they're also in the Power of the Dog together. They're both incredible in that. That was another movie that I thought was only like a watch once type movie, and I wasn't ever going to need to purchase that one. But I've kind of been in the mood to watch that one again. I might have to pick up the Criterion release pretty soon because I've been thinking about it. Speaking of, someone asked me what that Fargo release was back there at the beginning of the stream, and I forgot all about it. That is the first season of Fargo. It's not the film, it's the first season, and it's just a standard Blu-ray release in a box, and also has a hat. I don't know why. It's like a beanie. It's like a winter hat that has the same, that thing you're seeing right there on the front of the box. That's an open window, and that's the hat. It's just got like the Fargo logo on it. It's kind of silly, but I don't know. It looks fine on the shelf, so I got it turned sideways. But big fan of Fargo. Love the movie. I gotta get the 4K release from Shout Factory that just came out because I love that movie. That's maybe my favorite Coen Brothers movie. It's the first Coen Brothers I ever saw. And I also love the show. Grace and I watched through that show. We've only seen the first 3 seasons. We didn't watch season 4 with Chris Rock. And now I think season 5 is already out, and we haven't caught up yet. So I gotta get caught up on that. But I love that show, and I love that movie. And this show gets a little weird. It loses me a little bit. Like the finale of season 2 is a little too far. Well, season 3 is pretty crazy too, but the season 3 episode with the Peter and the Wolf score throughout the whole episode is one of the best episodes of television ever. I love that. I need to rewatch that. Maybe I'll watch the movie when I get the 4K, and then I'll rewatch that show with Grace because it's one of our favorites. SC, if you have an AMC theater around you, they're showing the Best Picture nominees up until the awards, it seems. Sweet. So we've seen all of them. Like I said, we need to see Zone of Interest. We also need to see all the shorts. There's a theater here that's called Landmark, and they're playing all of the theatrical shorts and all the animated shorts in kind of one sitting. Two different sittings. You watch all the animated ones, you watch all the live action ones. So we're really going to try to get out there when that comes out. I think it's in a few weeks here, and try to see all of those so we can be a little bit more prepared for the Oscars when the Oscars come. So got a lot to watch, but first we got to see Zone of Interest. Evil Wax, yeah, Jesse Plemons really gave some levity to Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, it wasn't even, I don't even know if it was just levity. It was just like, I needed somebody to root for. I need somebody to start, getting things done. And I needed one good person in the whole in the whole town. But yeah, he was great. I loved him. Society of the Snow got a makeup nom, which means it got 2 noms and it overperformed. Yeah, I mean, it definitely deserves that makeup nom. That makeup job was insane. Such a good movie. Kevin House says, I saw the Zone of Interest today. The sound design is pivotal to the film's, just jumped up, for the film's impact, and that's all I say at this point. Interesting. I gotta check that out. Let me catch up here a little bit. What time we got? We are at an hour, so a little bit more. I want to skip ahead a little bit because I'm falling behind. Thank you guys for the engagement tonight. It's crazy. Watch Guy, DJ, if you still have HBO Max, I don't. Sorry, I don't actually have any streaming services. I think we have a couple because Grace uses Hulu and Peacock, I think. And but no, I don't have HBO Max anymore, unfortunately. That one was an expensive one. Batman, the animated series, is great. Yeah, I've never seen that. I didn't grow up with that show. I didn't grow up with like cable, so I didn't have a lot of that. I only watched like Saturday morning cartoons that were on public at the time. But yeah, everyone loves Batman animated series. I sadly didn't grow up with it, and don't really care about Batman because of it, but everyone else does. Let's see. Oh yeah, Evil Wax says Ethan Hawke was in the version from the 90s. Yeah, Alive, that movie's called. I've never seen that one, but I can't see like an American Hollywood version of that story being as good as the Society in the Snow was. But maybe it was. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Let me know if you've seen Alive. Luke, one of my favorite Looney Tunes episodes is, I think, when Bugs gets trapped in a witch's haunted mansion. Also, when Bugs gets trapped in Paris and he gets turned into stew. Yeah, see, those ones sound a lot more interesting to me. I haven't seen those ones, but I like trying to put together a watch list for the kids every year for Halloween, so maybe I'll try to track down those. That's something I really want to get my hands on, is the Looney Tunes Platinum Collection, I think it's what it's called, and it's impossible to get your hands on. It's like a huge box set with like not everything, because I think there's 3 volumes, but they're crazy expensive on eBay. The first volume is like $120 these days if you get that limited edition big box, and then there's a volume 2 and a volume 3, and they're both pretty pricey as well. So those went out of print and are really hard to get your hands on. But they recently released some like volumes, like volume 1 and 2 of some Criterion or some Looney Tunes on Blu-ray. So I'm hesitant to buy like new releases that are like volumes like that, because I'm always worried they're never going to finish. So I kind of want to hold out and get those big platinum edition box sets, but I don't know if I'll ever be able to afford them. I don't know. I can't justify spending that much. But maybe I should, because my kids are young and they're not gonna watch Looney Tunes forever. So I should maybe go ahead and splurge while they're still kids. Watch Guy says Banshees is great. Ethan says Kino 4Ks are $17 when there's a sale on their site. Yes, like I said at the beginning of the show, it's been a long time since I've picked up Kinos, so I need to next time they have a sale, I need to jump on that. Dan says Dunst and Plemons are married. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought Grace told me that. She pays attention way more to like celebrity stuff that I don't really care about, but she did mention that. Let's see. Evil Wax there it is. Martin McDonough, that's his name, has a great directing style. Highly underrated film from him is The Guard with Brendan Gleeson and Don Cheadle. I didn't even know he made a film before Seven Psychopaths. That is interesting. I thought I had seen all of his films, so I'll have to check out The Guard. But yeah, I love his stuff. I love his dark sense of humor that he puts in his films. Really connects with me and Grace. We have a very dark sense of humor a lot of the time with each other anyway. I don't really do it on the channel because I want to be kind of family friendly. Evil Wax, gotcha, has a very similar vibe to In Bruges. Okay. In Bruges is a great one, so I'll have to check it out. JT, yeah, don't waste your time with Alive. You watched the right film. Just my humble opinion. That's what I thought. I didn't think it would be as great, but Society of the Snow was really incredible. Alden's back. He says, I'm definitely a new uncle, and it is super exciting. Sweet. Well, that's exciting when it's the first time. I remember the first time I was an uncle was when I first... Actually, I don't know when that was. I was going to say... I guess when I married Grace, I became an uncle, because she already had a niece at that time. And I still don't have any, my brothers still don't have any kids. So I'm not like I don't know what you call that, like a first uncle. But I do have married nieces and nephews. Let's see. Alive was a good for its time, but I'm sure Society is much better. Plemons was funny in Game Night, as was the whole cast. Martin McDonagh didn't make The Guard. That was his brother John. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought I had seen all of McDonagh's films. And Evil Wax saying the same thing. My mistake. No worries there. Ethan Edwards, you, a dark sense of humor, you're like Mr. Rogers. That's what I'm saying, man. Behind closed doors, me and Grace are very different. I don't like to talk like that on the channel, though, because we got to keep it YouTube appropriate. But it looks like I'm finally caught up on the... what? Compare me to Mr. Rogers. What? That's hilarious. But I'll take it as a compliment. He was a cool guy. Let me see what else is going on here. Speaking of silence, okay, so more people talking about Alive. Code Anime Fan says I'm one of the few people that I know that doesn't like It's a Wonderful Life. What? I won't be that guy. I won't be one of those guys that like gets mad at you for not liking a thing I like. But what? Why don't you like It's a Wonderful Life? It's great. Everyone loves it. It's a beautiful movie. I like it quite a bit. But let me know why you don't like it. Kevin House says there are some fantastic one-shot Looney Tunes in the 50s that didn't feature any of the famous animal characters. Yeah, I've got to get those at some point. I've got to get the entire collection, but it's... there's too much stuff to buy, and there's not enough money or time to make money to buy all this stuff. So I'm trying to limit myself, especially this year. I went kind of crazy last year with some box sets and some rare stuff, but I had some saved up money in my PayPal. Anyway, this is TMI. You guys don't care about this. All right. Any last questions, guys? Anything? Throw it at me. Send me some last questions, and we will wrap this stream up. It's been a crazy night. We've been talking about everything. We've been talking about Oscar nominees, Disney shorts, Looney Tunes, Martin McDonagh. We've been all over the map. All over the map. We've been talking about video game 4K terrible adaptations and all kinds of stuff. It's been a fun night. Thank you guys so much for making this evening what it is. Like I said, I didn't have too much to talk about new release-wise, but you guys always make it fun. Watch Guy says DJ is the consummate professional. Dark DJ must be for the Patreon, LOL. Yeah, if I ever do a Patreon, that would be the place to talk about, darker things with Grace. That's hilarious. SC, I'm in the no thanks to It's a Wonderful Life club. Way too sappy, and I will probably never be a Jimmy Stewart fan. No, he doesn't like Jimmy Stewart. What have you seen from Jimmy Stewart? Because Jimmy Stewart can do it all. He has done everything. I would recommend. Where would I? If you don't like It's a Wonderful Life, jeez, oh man, what don't you like about Jimmy Stewart? Just his voice, or like the way he talks? Man, that's hard for me to even take, because he's like my favorite actor of all time. But I'm sorry. If he's not your thing, he's not your thing. That's totally cool. But It's a Wonderful Life is too sappy. I could see that. That makes sense if you're not used to, or I don't know, if you don't like films from that kind of 40s sensibilities. That makes sense. But I love Jimmy Stewart. He's the man. Evil Wax. DJ probably would have been a better Mr. Rogers than Tom Hanks was in the biopic from a few years ago. I didn't see the biopic for that reason. I couldn't even buy him in the trailers. But I did see the documentary that came out that same year, or maybe the year before, and it was incredible. I really liked that documentary. But I didn't see, what is it? What was the actual biopic called? Because one of them was called Won't You Be My Neighbor, which was the documentary, and the other one was called, like, the other part of the song. But I didn't see that one, but I did see the documentary, and there's another documentary coming out this year about Reading Rainbow, which I used to watch as a kid also, so I hope that's good. I mean, I hope it's as good as the Mr. Rogers thing. I don't think it will be the same thing though, because it's not like about one guy. It's just about like Reading Rainbow as a show. So it's probably not gonna be the same thing, but I hope that's good. Luke, I saw Frank Capra, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington the other day with Jimmy Stewart. It was amazing. Also watched Advice and Consent by Otto Preminger today, which uses the same set for the Senate. I still have not seen Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I'm going to have to finally watch that this year. I almost watched it last year, but I went with Nashville instead. I was trying to watch like a America-themed film on the 4th of July, and I ended up going with Nashville. But I do have Mr. Smith Goes to Washington right back there, and I really want to check it out. Like I said, I love Jimmy Stewart. He's the man. Gus says, DJ, To Be or Not to Be? Are you talking about the movie? Because there's an Ernst Lubitsch film called To Be or Not to Be, and it's wonderful, and it's a really nice comedy. Also about an affair type situation, like we talked about earlier, but in a very playful Ernst Lubitsch kind of way. It's very, very charming film. It's kind of dark. It's like takes place during World War II, and it's about like this acting troupe that gets wrapped up with like actual Nazis. It's fun. It's a fun movie. Posty Posterson, when will we get an Imitation of Life 1959 4K? I have no idea. I don't make the rules. I don't have anything to do with anything. I just talk about it with you guys. So I have no idea. But I mean, don't lose hope. We're getting a lot of stuff. A lot of things are coming out in 4K these days. JT, what would be your 5 desert island discs? Oh, JT with these impossible questions. Whew. If I was gonna put, that's a good idea for a video. Is it always 5? How many is Desert Island always 5? That's not that many. 5 movies I can watch for the rest of my life. Good grief, man. I would need like a long time to prepare for that. It wouldn't necessarily be my 5 favorite films. It would probably be like 5 very, very different films, so I didn't get tired of them. So I'd probably need something maybe like It's a Wonderful Life, especially if I'm on a desert island and I don't have my actual family with me. Although that might just make me more sad. I don't know. But maybe I would. Oh, is it a tropical island? Because if so, I got to bring a Romer with me. I got to bring a summer Eric Romer film with me. Jeez, 5 films. That's impossible. That's impossible. Like I said earlier, I can't even narrow it down to my top 100, and you're trying to make me pick 5. I'm gonna need some time with that. Keep thinking about that. Internet user, are you interested in the Roaring 20s 4K from Criterion coming later this month? I'm interested. I don't know much about it except for that it stars Humphrey Bogart. I believe I talked about that when they announced it a couple months ago. That's coming out this month. But no, it's got a really interesting premise and cast, and the cover art looks really cool. So from what I know about it, it seems interesting. I don't know if I'll grab it right away, but it's definitely a possibility. Code Anime Fan, the problem I have with It's a Wonderful Life is the pacing. The part where George claims to recognize people that don't recognize him is one of the longest, more tiresome things that I've ever seen. What? That's the best part! Oh. Well, we'll just have to agree to disagree, sir, because I love that part and I love that movie. Bailey Welsh, not a question, but just highly recommend The Little Mermaid, which I recently watched. It was so good and met my expectations. I'm going to rewatch the Soviet version soon. Okay, that's amazing that you bring that up, because I've been trying to get a hold of that film. I can't find it. The only way I've found, maybe I can just rent it, but I was looking for a physical version, and the only version I can find is like a DVD from Region B on eBay, which I don't think I'll be able to play. I can play Region B Blu-rays. I don't know if my player can play Region B DVDs though. But yeah, there's a Czech adaptation of The Little Mermaid, and it stars the lead actress from Valerie and Her Week of Wonders, which is a crazy, really good movie that I watched a couple years ago and really, really liked. So I want to see her in that movie as well. I also just saw her in one of the Hungarian films that I watched last week, the Jenko film, and that's another bonkers, crazy film. But she's in that as well, and she's great in Valerie. So I want to see her in The Little Mermaid, but I haven't been able to find a copy of that. So let me know how you watched that. Did you just rent it, or is it streaming somewhere? It's probably not streaming anywhere. Maybe you can rent it. Luke, Rope was my first Jimmy Stewart film, a big outlier of his out of what I've seen. Yeah, Rope is very different than any other film. I've seen that as well, but it's great. He's great in that. It's an older Jimmy Stewart performance. Another older one is Anatomy of a Murder, which I haven't seen yet, but I really want to check out. It's been on my list for a long time, but it's like 3 hours, and it's hard to find the time to watch it. The Anatomy of a Fall poster that mimics the Anatomy of a Murder poster is awesome. If you look that up, it's my poster on Letterboxd right now, but it's a really cool poster, and I like Anatomy of a Fall. Haven't seen Anatomy of a Murder yet, though, unfortunately. Kevin House, Jimmy Stewart is my favorite actor from the golden age. Sadly, my friend Janet just can't take his voice. That's a bummer. I feel like his voice is one that's parodied a lot. But when people do it, they do it like way more than he actually does. I don't feel like his voice is that annoying in the films he's in. Ethan Edwards, why do you pronounce Martinez so differently than most people? That's how it's pronounced in my family. That's how my parents always told me it was pronounced. We don't have like any Hispanic in us, like at all. I've even done like the 23andMe, and it doesn't come. I don't know where the name comes from, but yeah, I don't have any. I wish I did. I wish I could speak Spanish. That would be incredible. But yeah, it's not Martinez, or at least that's what they tell me. Honestly, I usually do say Martinez nowadays because I'm so sick of every time someone asks me my name, I say Martinez, and they're like, oh, Martinez. And they correct me on my own name, and I'm like, sure, whatever, just say it. So like if I'm at the bank or the grocery store or something, or the doctor, I'll just say Martinez just to make it easier. But yeah, that's how my parents always pronounce it. I don't know where it comes from, but that's it. I don't know. Watch Guy, believe it or not, I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life. In fact, I think the only Stewart film I've seen were Hitchcock. It's a good place to start, man. Good place to start. He's also done some really, really good Westerns. Highly recommend The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Is an amazing performance by Jimmy Stewart. But yeah, he's done a lot of Hitchcock films. I mean, if you've seen Rear Window, he's awesome. Dan's Den, a beautiful day in the neighborhood, isn't a biopic. It's actually centered around a journalist interviewing Mr. Rogers. Oh, yeah, sorry. When I say I know the plot, but when I say biopic, I just mean like based on a true story. But you're right, there's a difference. Let's see. Kevin House, I grew up with Captain Kangaroo rather than Mr. Rogers. Long live the captain. The only time I've ever heard of Captain Kangaroo is in the song on Tick Tick Boom, when they're running around the apartment and they say the doorman looks like Captain Kangaroo. That is my only experience with Captain Kangaroo. Sorry, Kevin. Long live the captain. Ethan says 4th of July is for watching Jaws. Connor says Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is great. I actually watched that for the first time the day I watched Nashville for the first time. Oh, wow, you did a double feature. Ooh, wow, I wasn't able to do that, but that's really cool. Frank Capra is the American dream personified, says Luke. I love Frank Capra. He makes holiday films. Like, he makes the best holiday films. He's got the best Christmas film. He's got the best Halloween film. He's got maybe the best 4th of July film. Not according to Ethan. He says it's 4th of July, but I have not seen Mr. Smith yet, so I guess I'll have to wait to see. Let's see. Jay Hutch talks too much. Hey, popping in right as we're about to close up shop. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is my favorite Jimmy Stewart movie, though he had a lot of great ones. Yeah, he's got an incredible, stellar filmography, and I cannot wait to watch the rest of them. And I'm never gonna run out because he did so many. He went broke at some point, and he had to like just take whatever job. He did like a ton of films. But he never phoned it in. Jay Hutch talks too much. Satan Tango on a Desert Island would kill sometime. That's true. I could also be strategic, but I can try to pick the longest film, so I had enough to watch, but I don't think I would want to watch Satan Tango or Shoah on like a desert island that I'm stranded on. That would probably make it worse, honestly. But yeah. I really liked it. I don't want to say too much about it because I'm going to film that video about it soon, but I really liked it, and that's why I purchased it, because I'm definitely going to go back to it. I don't know if I'll ever watch all 7.5 hours at once again, but I will definitely go back to it. And it's broken up into 12 little episodes, little chunks. So it's a perfect film to watch like over a couple days if you have to. But I do recommend, if it's playing in your theater, to go see it all day long, because it's just a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Let's see. Watch Guy, considering the real-life event was just last week, might be a good time to watch Groundhog Day. Yeah, John actually messaged me the other day and asked me if I was going to watch Groundhog Day. I didn't even realize it was Groundhog Day. I never remember that holiday. So we ended up watching Society of the Snow that day instead. But yeah, I haven't seen Groundhog Day in forever. An internet user, James Stewart should have been Conan the Barbarian. Now that's perfect casting. I would 100% watch that. That would be amazing. Kevin House says Anatomy of a Murder is well worth your time. I'm sure it is. I got to get to it. Bailey Walsh says, I actually found a YouTube upload with English subtitles. I did not realize the actress who plays Valerie is in it. It also stars Cinderella from Three Wishes, and that actress's sister plays Little Mermaid. Hey, awesome. So yeah, I got to watch that movie. It's a perfect DJ movie. Thank you for letting me know it's on YouTube. I'll have to check that out soon. Henry Bidenkamp is talking to someone else. Scooby McSnack is here, and we'll read the last couple comments here and we'll wrap this up. Every time I watch James Stewart film, it's a delight. I've only seen very few, but I really like him. Yeah, he's always great. I've never seen him. I don't think I've ever seen him give a bad performance in any of the movies I've seen. Let's see. Kevin House. DJ, have you seen Jimmy Stewart in Harvey? If not, you really need to check that out. It has a fantasy element too. I do have Harvey back there in the white section right there. That was one of the ones that I picked up in that collection that I bought out from that friend of mine, and it was in there, and I have it back there. I just haven't had the right time to watch it, but I'm aware of like what it's about, and it sounds intriguing, so I need to finally check that out. Last one here before it jumps ahead again and everyone throws in their questions. Luke, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington has the similarities to It's a Wonderful Life, with Jimmy playing a wholesome character toe-to-toe with a corrupt millionaire. That sounds great. I know. This is the year. This is finally going to be my Mr. Smith Goes to Washington year, and I can't wait. I'm going to finally check it out. And that is it. I am about to lose my entire voice, and it's right at 1 hour 30, like I said we were going to stop. So I'm glad we made it. I'm glad we made it here. Thanks you everyone in the chat for all the great questions. I have not forgotten your Desert Island question. I'm going to get back to that. I'm going to figure out what my Desert Island movies would be. Maybe I'll bring that up next week. I got to do some research though, because that's an impossible question. Thank you guys for tuning in for all the new releases this week. I love doing this every week. Of course, we'll be back again next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to join us next week, if you're watching after the fact, thank you for that too. I appreciate that as well. All the comments after the fact are great. Really appreciate that. Of course, it helps the channel. And we'll see you guys next week. And I'm going to go rest my voice and get some sleep. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all your input in the chat. Until next time, keep collecting. I'll be back with another video real soon. Bye, guys.